Well, thank you very much, Chairman Menendez and Senator Corker and members of the committee for inviting me to testify today on U.S. policy toward North Korea, or as it's often called, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. North Korea's February 12 announcement of its third nuclear test and its subsequent threats to conduct even more follow-on measures are only the latest in a long line of reminders that the DPRK's nuclear weapons and ballistic missile programs and proliferation activities pose serious threats to U.S. national security, to regional security in the Asia-Pacific, and to the global nonproliferation regime. Pyongyang continues to violate its international obligations and commitments, including to denuclearize. Its human rights record remains deplorable. Its economy is stagnant. Its people are impoverished. It pours significant sums into nuclear and ballistic missile programs that are forbidden by the United Nations. The DPRK has consistently failed to take advantage of the alternatives available. The United States has offered Pyongyang an improved relationship, provided North Korea demonstrates a willingness to fulfill its denuclearization commitments and address other concerns. The DPRK rebuffed these offers and instead responded with a series of provocations that drew widespread international condemnation. North Korea again brazenly defied the international community on April 13, 2012, and again on December 12, 2012, with long-range missile launches in flagrant violation of UN Security Council resolutions and in the face of united calls from the international community to desist. Some 60 countries and international organizations issued statements criticizing the December launch. The DPRK's February 12 announcement of a nuclear test, which Pyongyang proclaimed was targeted against the United States of America, represents an even bolder threat to national security, the stability of the regime, and the global nonproliferation regime. The international response has been unprecedented. Over 80 countries and international organizations from all corners of the world have condemned the test. We are working with the international community to make clear that North Korea's nuclear test has costly consequences. In adopting Resolution 2087 in January, after the December launch, the UN Security Council pledged to take significant action in the event of a nuclear test. We are working hard at the United Nations Security Council to make good on that pledge, and as you noted, Mr. Chairman, that is occurring even as we speak, and we are hoping that the Council adopts the resolution that the United States put forward. The Security Council will deliver a credible and strong response that further impedes the growth of North Korea's nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles program and its ability to engage in proliferation activities. The resolution today that we tabled builds upon, strengthens, and significantly expands the scope of the strong UN sanctions already in place. The sanctions contained in this draft resolution will significantly impede North Korea's ability to proceed in developing its nuclear and missile programs, and significantly expands the scope of the tools the UN has available to counter these North Korean developments. We are also strengthening our close coordination with our six-party partners and our regional allies, and through a whole-of-government approach, working closely with our partners in the Department of Defense and other agencies, we will take the steps necessary to defend ourselves and our allies, particularly the Republic of Korea and Japan. Effective, targeted, multilateral, and national sanctions will remain a vital component of our effort to impede the DPRK from advancing its nuclear weapons and ballistic missile programs and its proliferation activities. We continue to exercise national authorities to sanction North Korean entities, individuals, and those that support them in facilitating programs that threaten the American people. Most recently, on January 24, the Departments of State and the Treasury designated a number of North Korean individuals and entities under Executive Order 13382, which targets actors involved in the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction and their supporters. We will continue to take national measures as appropriate. Sanctions are not a punitive measure, but rather a tool to impede the development of North Korea's nuclear and missile programs and its proliferation-related exports, as well as to make clear the costs of North Korea's defiance of its international obligations. And working toward our endgame will require an openness to meaningful dialogue with the DPRK. We remain committed to authentic and credible negotiations to implement the September 2005 joint statement of the six-party talks and to bring North Korea into compliance with its international obligations through irreversible steps leading to denuclearization. The United States will not engage in talk for talk's sake. Authentic and credible talks will first require a serious, meaningful change in North Korea's priorities, demanding that Pyongyang is prepared to meet its commitments and obligations on denuclearization. This leads to a few important other principles. First and foremost, the United States will not accept North Korea as a nuclear-armed state. We will not reward the DPRK for the absence of bad behavior. We will not compensate the DPRK merely for returning to dialogue. We will not tolerate North Korea provoking its neighbors. We have made clear that U.S.-DPRK relations cannot fundamentally improve without sustained improvement in inter-Korean relations and in human rights. These positions will not change. In the meantime, active U.S. diplomacy on North Korea on a wide range of issues continues. Close coordination with our valued treaty allies, the ROK and Japan, remain absolutely central to our approach. We have also expanded our engagement by developing new dialogues on North Korea with key global actors who have joined the rising chorus of voices calling on the DPRK to comply with its international obligations. China, however, does remain central to altering North Korea's cost calculus, and close U.S.-China consultations on North Korea will remain for us a key focus of diplomatic efforts in the weeks and months ahead. While denuclearization remains an essential goal of U.S. policy, so too does the welfare of North Korea's nearly 25 million people, the vast majority of whom bear the brunt of the government's decision to perpetuate an unsustainable, self-impoverishing military-first policy. Improving human rights conditions is an integral part of our overall North Korea policy, and how the DPRK addresses human rights will have a significant impact on prospects for improved U.S.-DPRK ties. The entire world is increasingly taking note of the grave, widespread, and systematic human rights violations in the DPRK and demanding action. United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, Navi Pillay, has called for an in-depth international inquiry to document abuses. We support this call. And next week, my colleague, Special Envoy for North Korea Human Rights Issues, Robert King, will travel to Geneva to attend the United Nations Human Rights Council's 22nd session, where he will call attention to North Korea's human rights record and urge adoption of an enhanced mechanism of inquiry into the regime's abuses against the North Korean people. Mr. Chairman, the Obama administration's dual-track policy of engagement and pressure toward the DPRK reflects a bipartisan recognition that only a policy of openness to dialogue when possible, combined with sustained, robust pressure through sanctions when necessary, can maximize prospects for progress in denuclearizing North Korea. But genuine progress requires a fundamental shift in North Korea's strategic calculus. The DPRK leadership must choose between provocation or peace, isolation or integration. North Korea will not achieve security, economic prosperity, and integration into the international community while it pursues nuclear weapons, while it threatens its neighbors, while it tramples on international norms, abuses its own people, and refuses to fulfill its long-standing obligations and commitments. The DPRK leadership in Pyongyang faces increasingly sharp choices, and we are working with our friends and allies to further sharpen these choices. If the North Korean regime is at all wise, it will re-embark on the path to denuclearization for the benefit of the North Korean people, the Northeast Asian region, and the world. Mr. Chairman, thank you again for this chance to appear before you today, and I'm happy to try and address any questions you may have. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ambassador.